Rural girl overnight became a wealthy heiress. During the meal, she put her feet on the chair, eating heartily and deliciously. When she looked up, she received her mother's deadly stare, quickly adjusting her posture to be more ladylike. But Daffy, accustomed to freedom, how could she eat quietly and calmly? Seeing the cook serving the dishes, she told her to sit down as well, and asked if there was chili oil, saying the taste was too bland. She was about to grab a spoon to scoop it up, but her mother quickly stopped her. Grandfather, seeing the situation, entrusted Eric with the task of disciplining Daffy, to cultivate her into an elegant lady. Later, he instructed that she should no longer go to work. Daffy wanted to fight for it, but her cousin quickly changed the topic. Daffy only then realized that Tim was her sister's first love, and it was in Tim's car that her sister had an accident. Her mother could never forgive him, let alone allow her youngest daughter to work under him. Daffy felt an unprecedented sadness, for her sister, and for herself. She had unknowingly fallen in love with Tim. Early in the morning, she wanted to sneak out for her last day of work, but unexpectedly, she bumped into her mother as soon as she went downstairs, and said she would be back after going out for a while. When she arrived at the company, she was still worried about how to resign. She was then assigned to deliver documents to Tim's press conference, but she saw a chubby director constantly targeting Tim. Feeling upset, she wanted to play a prank on the director. The chubby director looked confused. Daffy said she mistook him for someone else, but then she slapped him to hurry up and pay back the money. The director was furious, and Tim quickly stepped forward. They both ran away like that. Tim took Daffy to his former elementary school, telling stories from the past. Daffy, wearing high heels, walked on the balance beam, but accidentally sprained her foot. Without hesitation, Tim went to buy ointment, and personally applied it to her. Daffy couldn't help but immerse herself in his tenderness, even fantasizing that Tim was the prince who put crystal shoes on her. However, Daffy had to face reality. She said she wanted to give up. Tim jokingly said, "Give up then. These shoes are not suitable for you." He was kidding, but Daffy felt even more upset. She solemnly said she wouldn't work at the movie company anymore. Tim was very puzzled. Daffy was afraid that if she stayed any longer, tears would start falling, so she hastily left. In the evening, Tim couldn't resist sending her a text message, asking what he had done wrong, but it ended up being a casual advertisement slogan. In the end, he called her on the phone, and scolded her, saying she was so inconsistent and gave up halfway. Didn't she say being a screenwriter was her dream? Daffy also cried uncontrollably, her mind filled with thoughts of him. So the next day, she brought up the topic of work with her grandfather again, using her cousin as an excuse, saying she was going to play at her cousin's company. As soon as she arrived at the office, her colleagues assigned Daffy to make photocopies. Tim saw Daffy being bossed around, and said, "How can you let her do it? You do it. This habit of yours is very bad." To pick up and drop off Daffy, Tim overcame his fear of driving, and bought a new car. He let Daffy sit in it first, saying he would take her home. This scared Daffy quite a bit. She couldn't let Tim know where she lived, so she asked him to drop her off at her best friend's house, and then take another car back. When she returned home, she discovered that the wild vegetables she had brought from the mountains had been thrown out at the doorstep.